Great morning, great morning. Oh no, great day, great day, great day. It's me. It's me. Happy Thursday, guys. We're on episode 11. Yeah, 11 weeks of this. This is dope. Like 11 weeks of this. Like one of the things I really tried to, one of the things that I struggled with was consistency. Like when I was doing the Instagrams, the TikToks, and like that's why I held off so long for doing a YouTube, because I was like, I want to do this and be consistent. And it's been a journey, but it's been a awesome journey. It's been awesome so far. Yes. Journey to 30 by May 1st. I think we're at 22 subscribers. So I think we're 8 away from our goal. I'll double check again once I'm done. But yes, the goal is to try to get 30 subscribers by May 1st. So like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. Everybody's getting their hoodies, their t-shirts, and I'm starting to get the pictures in. Everybody looks beautiful, so it's exciting. Like the last video I did is like, how many times did I say top tier? Like I think that was like the word of the day was top tier. It was top tier. I'm sorry, I got distracted. It was top tier. So yes, I think I said like 4 times just now. But anyway, so the topic of grace came up, and it's come up a lot lately in my conversations in the last month. And let's talk about grace. And I know I've talked about grace before on TikTok. And the thing about it is, like, I recorded for this topic. I think it was Monday. I recorded for the topic. And then I was like, I was thinking about it, and the video kind of went left a little bit. So I was like, I'm not posting that. And then I like really thought more into it, and it was deeper than I thought. And it wasn't just about giving grace, but it's what happens after grace. What happens after you give grace? How do you move after giving a person grace? How do you move? I think it's the giving person grace part that is like, how do I move afterwards with this person? So I said in a TikTok video last year, grace and space, grace and space, grace and space. And it's like, I'm gonna give you grace in exchange for space. And it's kind of like grace and forgiveness work together. And what I learned with forgiveness is like, I can forgive you. I can forgive you. But I can't, I can forgive you. In that forgiving, I have to protect myself and put myself in a position to where, okay, I have to build with this person all over again. I can forgive you, but I have to build trust again with you to bring you back to the place where we were before. Some people can, some people can't. Grace is the same way. So after grace, what do you do? After grace, what do you do? When it comes to the after part, grace and space, I give you grace. Everybody deserves grace. I've been in situations where I've deserved grace, and I've been given grace. In some moments, I haven't been given grace. Sometimes I've been given grace when people just want to like, let's just cut ties. And I've respected it in that process. And what I'm learning with levels in grace and the layers of the after effects of grace is like, again, what do you do with this person after you've given grace? Once you've given grace, you really sit there and you think about it and you evaluate this person and you give them an opportunity to change. And change isn't vocal, change is action-based. So you're trying to see if this person is making efforts to become better, if this person is making efforts to push forward in the right direction with you, or in a way to where what got y'all in that place, it won't happen again. So I think it's fair to say you can give a person grace. You can give a person grace, but also it's kind of like this. It's kind of like a person robs the bank, right? You know, you let them work in your bank. They have the codes to all the safes, and they rob the bank, right? They rob the bank, and you're like, all right, you robbed it. It's cool. You let them come back to work. One, you let them work there again. Two, you give them all the codes to the safes again and access to all the money. And three, you're just like, oh, it's okay. So it's like you're giving that person an opportunity to steal again. And they haven't earned your trust, but you're just giving grace and say, okay, I'm just going to let this go. No. With grace, it has to be some kind of change. Like, I can give you grace, but I have to watch your actions and see how you move going forward. And it's like the Bible says you're supposed to give grace, but we're not supposed to be a fool in the process. Like, you don't just let a person keep slapping you in the face and you say, I'm gonna turn the other cheek so they can get the other cheek. No, baby, no. Eventually you learn to duck. But if you notice, okay, I'm ducking, but this person keeps trying to slap me, so it clicks. I need to just move away completely or get out of the way to where that person can't slap me again. That's the better example. Not the bank one. That's the better example. Grace is the same way. You can sit there, and I don't want this to be an invitation for people to think you just walk up on me and slap me in the face, because I don't believe, I'm a firm believer in it. Like, if you touch me and black out on you, and it is what it is. Listen, it's between you and God at that point. But anyways, so just had to get a little announcement just in case. But grace is something that everybody deserves. And another aspect of grace is you never know what people are going through. And sometimes people will do things and it's not them that's coming against you. It's the spirit in them that's coming against you. Sometimes it's not, I don't want to say it's not on purpose, but it's one of those things where some people just carry so much, they make mistakes. Some people, it's like, how can this person do this to me? And I love them so much, and I care for them so much. And it's just kind of like some people just don't, it's their trauma. Some people hurt the ones they love because the ones that love them hurt them. So that's all they know. They attribute or connect or figure hurt and love run parallel. Like, if you hurt me, you love me. So they hurt the people that they love. And yeah, I've had to learn that from different situations, especially in relationships, is sometimes people hurt the ones they love because that's all they know. That's their version of love. They attribute love to hurt. But again, back to grace. Everybody deserves grace. Everybody deserves grace. We all deserve grace. And I think that we as the people, we have to really look at the ones around us. And before we really get into the whole, I'm done with you, I'm not dealing with you, you got to really try to sit there and evaluate the whole situation. Look at the history. Look at your history with that person. Look at that person's history. And it's like, dang, it's like, I can see why this person acts like that because I know what they've been through. Even though I can't agree with how I was treated, it's like, dang, it's like, I gotta understand, like, it's not them, it's their trauma. Like, their trauma responding, you know? So, you learn grace. And sometimes also, grace accompanies a conversation. Like, with grace, sometimes conversations can help figure things out, and you can understand where a person is coming from, what a person was dealing with. And then it's like, dang, it's like, now I get it. Now I get it. And then again, you make the option to move forward, you know? So I think the after grace process is really just figuring out what you can salvage. What can you salvage in the process without losing yourself? What can you salvage in the process what can you salvage, but in the same process not lose yourself? And I think that's the thing that a lot of us have to figure out with the happenings of after grace, the happenings of giving forgiveness. Like, I can give an example. Me and my dad didn't have the best relationship, and we've had the, I want to say, since maybe October, November. It really just started to get better, you know? And we've had to give each other grace through a lot of things that we've been through. And I'm surprised still, but I'm so grateful. Like, I was in the car when my friends were here, and my dad had called. We were on the phone, and my dad called. We were on the phone, and it was just we check in every couple of days, and my dad was just like, I was telling him what I was doing or whatever, and he was just like, all right, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go. I would just call and check on you, and like, all right, Dad. I was like, I love you, and he was like, I love you more, son. And then we got off the phone, and then my friend was just like, dang. He was like, I'm about to cry. And I was like, why? He was like it. I'm paraphrasing. He put on what you're saying. Like, my dad, he could feel that my dad meant it. He could feel that, like, my dad was like 10 toes down on that, like, I love you more thing. And it was just special because we had talked about my relationship with my father. So to see this and to see the growth, and that's all from grace. My dad and I have had to go through things to where, we had to go through a lot to get to this point. And what it took to make things better was we really had a heart to heart, sat down. I got everything off my chest. He got everything off his. And we had an understanding, and we figured out the root to our dysfunction. And then we figured out a way to navigate to go forward. And we did. And the thing about it is, we did this together. Like, we had conversations. It took a couple of conversations. We had the conversation about what was bothering us. We came to the understanding. And then we went into, what do we do to move forward? And to move forward, that took a couple of conversations. And it took, listen, I can do this, but I can't do this. It took, I can do this, but I'm going to need this from you. And we figured out what we needed from each other. And we met in the middle. There's some times where, that's going to be a good video for another day. But anyways, so grace, it took grace to get us to that point, It took grace and sometimes setting boundaries, but in the grace, we had to go backwards to a place where we can have a clear foundation to build trust again. You'll go through that with parents, siblings, friends, people you're in a relationship with. Like, you'll go through situations where you have to give grace. Give grace and then make the decision of, how do I move forward with this person? But don't just walk around not giving grace. Like, don't. Because not giving grace, it turns into hatred. It turns into disdain. It turns into anger. And it turns into resentment. Instead of you really just taking the time to process, dang, like, I really just need to give grace. I need to give grace so I can move forward. That's another part of grace. Grace is for you as well, so you can move forward and not carry that energy around. Like, I remember I had a situation to where I wasn't giving grace, and I was so pissed. Like, every time I was on the phone, I was just like, I just can't stand that hoe. Like, I don't like that hoe. Like, I don't want nothing to do with that hoe. That's really where I was. And God convicted me. I was driving, and God convicted me and just like, what are you doing? Like, you're not giving grace. You're not giving grace. You're not giving understanding. You're carrying unnecessary energy and baggage. Like, you're carrying something that doesn't belong to you. Like, whatever they're dealing with that ended up infiltrating that relationship, now you carry it. You carry the anger. You carry the resentment. You carry the frustration, and it's not yours. And I'm just like, dang. So I made the decision, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to give grace. I'm going to give grace and just let things build how they're supposed to build. And I'm still processing that situation. Like, I'm still processing a couple of situations. And it's just like trying to figure out, how do I move in a place to where it's beneficial for me and that person, but as well as like, how do I regain trust with that person so they can't do the same thing again? You know? Um, that's grace. That's, to me, that's my opinion of grace. That's my thoughts on grace. Because I've had people, like, I'm just like, dang, like, I wasn't in the right headspace. And it made me do things that were contrary to who I am, to my core. And I'm just like, I don't move like that, but I'm moving like this. But I'm moving like this, and I'm hurting people that I care about. And it wasn't intentional. It was, how can I say, they were, casualties of war. Like, they were casualties in my own personal war, my own personal stuff I had going on, my own personal areas where I wasn't healed. And it was hurting people that I cared about. So, and I'm grateful for all the times I did receive grace. And there was a couple times where I messed up again, but I've learned from my mistakes. And it's like, all right. And grace is what saved a lot of my friendships, on my end. I'm saying, for me being the person that had to get grace, So now I'm learning to give that same amount of grace that I wanted. And I'm also learning to listen to that person's perspective, because I was never listened to. So, yeah, give grace, because you never know what people are dealing with. You never know what people are carrying. You never know when they're just on overload and they can't carry nothing else anymore. Like, you just never know, you know? You just never know. So I think you just never know what a person is carrying. You never know what a person is dealing with. You don't. You don't. You don't. So, yeah, give grace. Give grace to people at work. Don't let them play with you. And I'm not saying let people play with you. Let's get that out. Let's get that out in the open. I'm not saying let people play with you. What I'm saying is, give grace so you can move in peace. Give grace so you can sit there and say, all right, I'm cool. I'm not going to let that affect me anymore. Like, I'm going to let you deal with you. And because what you got going on has nothing to do with me, So, yeah, clarify that. Give grace to your parents. Because a lot of the times, we're carrying stuff from our parents that's passed on, But they're carrying everything that was passed on to them. They're carrying their parents. They're carrying their grandparents. They're carrying their great great grandparents. It's like a cycle of carrying. It's like a cycle of carrying bullshit. It's a cycle of carrying bullshit, and a lot of the times, like, your parents only know. Like, I know from my parents spent so much time trying to be like their parents, but be a better version of their parents, that they weren't being just the best version of themselves. And I get it now, because my parents were always trying to give us what they didn't have. I had amazing grandparents. My parents wanted, and I learned to give them grace. It was like, dang, they were just trying to give us the best that they could with what they knew how, and with what they had. So you kind of learn to give your parents grace. They only know what they know. They're not perfect. And, like, for some of us, a lot of our parents weren't ready to be parents, but they took on the task and they were parents. They did the best they could. They did the best they could with the responsibility that they didn't ask for, or they didn't plan for. But they took it on, and they did the best that they could. Give grace to your siblings, because you don't know what they're carrying, what they're dealing with. I mean, hell, they were raised with the same parents as you. So, if you came out with some dysfunctions, they had to come out with some dysfunction, okay? Like, give them grace. Give your friends grace, because a lot of the times, especially when you're in your late 20s and 30s, like a lot of us go through things to where we've had bad friendships, so we become scarred. You know, so people become scarred, and they still deal with those battle wounds every now and again. So give them grace. Give them grace. Give them understanding. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. You're human. You're gonna make mistakes. Things are gonna happen. What is that on my shirt? Oh, it's a size thing. Give yourself grace, because you know there's I mean, even though like the manual is the manual to life is in the Bible. That's what I believe, but nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Give yourself grace and give yourself the opportunity to move forward in life, to move past your mistakes and grow. All right. So that's all I got for you guys today. Give people grace. Give people grace. Give people grace, because sometimes people just need to be loved through their shit. They just really just need to be loved through their shit. That's it. Like, and that's how you really deal with certain situations. You love them through their stuff. All right. Well, I gotta go. I gotta go to dialysis. I love you all. Thank you all for watching. And like I said, you do what you do best, and I'm gonna do what I do best. Like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna give you weekly content. If you guys got something you want to talk about, you want to hear about, or you want to hear my perspective on, or if you want more guests, 'cause I think I'm gonna do another guest next month. I'm gonna do once a month. So yeah. So hit me up. Talk to me. I still got hoodies and t-shirts for sale. Hoodies are $50. T-shirts are $20. Shipping is $10 depending on where you are. If you're Atlanta, I can just, bring it to you. Other places it's gonna cost $10 to ship. Like usually it's like $16, $17. But you give 10, I'll do the rest. I got you. Love you all. Talk to you later. Bye.